Hello and welcome to another episode of Alan Writes. This is number 4. As yet it's untitled. I'm sure I'll throw a title in there sooner or later. But like as before with writing creatively, I am now facing a blank page. Here we go. We're going to try something. I'm going to try something based on an idea I remembered, or well, a memory that I had many years ago of a squirrel crawling across a power line in order to cross a street. It was quite a thing. So as before, it is untitled and will even be spelled correctly by me. So, now, when you're getting an idea, and you have an idea that pops back into your mind, I was always struck by how clever the squirrel seemed because he was able to evade traffic and the risks involved by merely crawling across what was a pretty wide wire. I mean, admittedly, if he fell, he would be in trouble, but you can't get around risk. There's always going to be some risk. In his case, he deemed it was better that he should take his risks falling than being hit by the many cars that might be crossing the road at any one time. If you ever watch squirrels, you'll realize that they all have different ways of crossing streets. Some of them put their head down and bolt across, trusting to speed and luck. Others will actually look and wait. They're trying to figure out, is this car coming? How close is it? And everything else before they dart across. Those are the smarter ones. Although they do have to pause at the side of the road, and I suppose something could hit them there. They're more exposed and less in cover. And then, of course, you've got things like the squirrel I saw, he was just very inventive, and I hope he lived a long and fruitful life. All right. So we obviously can't take it from the perception of the squirrel itself. That's another matter, and I'd have to figure out a whole bunch of squirrel-related things. We may do that, but the squirrels don't think too much. They, not like people anyway. So let's begin with. I saw a squirrel creep across the power line that ran from pole to pole over the street. That struck me as a very smart squirrel. Wow, that is pretty horrible. That's a horrible opening, but I can do something with it. So we have a perspective of somebody who's watching squirrels, which is what I was doing, which is important to the story, because if we weren't watching the squirrels, then we don't have a story. My street, we'll do by the absence of it. My street is a, okay, how about, let's try that again. Let's try that again. I didn't believe that Darwin evolution could select for some things. I didn't believe that evolution could select something. This is going scientific, which is my usual progression. I have an idea. I try to figure out how it works in a mechanical construct of the mind, so to speak, how things interrelate, how the gears mesh with everything else. Eventually, I get to the point where I write it up as if it were interesting, and then finally polish it up. So you've got that sort of 4-stage progression on how I do my writing. But we're already 5 minutes in, and I have yet to even really get much down on the page. I didn't believe that evolution could select for some things. Sure, better eyesight, hearing, and so on. But coloration outside of camouflage. No, 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 not coloration. What am I looking for? What's a trait that doesn't seem like it would be, but can you select for wisdom? For luck? That had to be learned. At least that's thought till I saw the squirrel cross the road. All it did was tuck its head down and race across through 2 lanes of traffic and not get hit. Half a dozen times a day. It surged across, make none. I never saw get hit. Okay, that's it's a weak opening, sure. Yeah, but look, that had to be learned. And I never saw or heard it get hit. How old was it? Old enough to get a little gray. Old enough to show its children how it was done. And now they too are darting across and living. So, is that luck? Is that luck? Maybe these squirrels have great peripheral vision and can judge the approach of vehicles just right. That had to be it. That had to be it. Except one time I saw a station wagon. I'm not going to use a generic car. Better to have it be some sort of vehicle specifically. Specific beats general for the most part, unless you have to be general. Except one time I saw a station wagon hit its station wagon accelerate to hit a squirrel. Some greasy faced boy driving with locked grin of glee on his features. Locked grin of glee. The squirrel halted. The car swerved. Squirrel dove, and the kid into a ditch. Smart squirrel. Smart animal. Stupid human. So, well, we've just said that the squirrels know a little more on this guy's street, or this woman's street for that matter. We haven't set the narrator's gender or much of anything other than the fact that they apparently live or work or something on this particular street. Okay, there we go. See, that's the start of smart animal, stupid human. Then the squirrel looked to me up on this second story. Watching me watch it. Just a brief moment. We locked eyes. Then it crossed. The next morning, I awoke to find the squirrel perched on the ledge outside my window, staring in. My coffee went cold in my grasp. My cup it darted off. Each morning, wait for me. Each morning it would wait for me, staring. Finally, I'd had enough. I planted an oak tree out front, and then to it there. And the next morning, the squirrel wasn't there. Did it know? Did it care? I don't know, but when the acorns begin to fall in a few years, I imagine there will be squirrels street. Okay, well, that's a story. Not sure where the hell it went on me, but it's a story. Let's take a look at it. At its heart, it's about animals being smarter than you take them to be. And what is that called when they take on human traits? Anthropomorphize? Yeah, pretty much. The squirrel's smart enough to know that humans are terrible, and that humans watch it, and that humans are stronger than it, but it's staring in the window, it seems to want something, and the person provides, and then it just kind of leaves them alone. That's the story, I suppose. It's not a great story. All right, let's see what we can do to make this a little better. I don't like the opening. I don't like the opening. it's very much a I'm telling you a thing opening, and this I believe is going to be all for me for later. On Monday, I moved in. The owner said a lot of squirrels around, that they were leaving the heavy drapes in place. Okay, so that's a juxtaposition. On Monday, I moved into my new house. The drapes didn't match the splendor of the well, it's a type of home. I don't know what type of home it is, but we're gonna go with it. The sprawling splendor of the them down. The view wasn't improved. Consisting of the street and the houses across the way. Of the bare street. And yeah, squirrels. Little red fellas. Bushy tails. They skittered up and down. No pine trees. Not oak trees either. I'm going to save the oak for later, obviously. Up and down. Maple trees? Okay, whatever. I'll figure out whatever the house, kind of house it is, what kind of trees are common there, and then we'll go from there. Down the maple trees. Down the maple trees. Darted across. And darted across the road. It was fun. And for my morning wake up, I watched Scamper, read my tablet, and drank coffee. Okay, so we'll just move that down there. This is the important part, I believe. Can you select for wisdom for luck? And for the most part, did they scamper across the road? Did they scamper? Most part, didn't cross the road. Smart there's plenty of traffic going. One industrious fellow did make his way. He tucked his head. He'd just tuck his head down and race across. See me ignoring traffic. Ignoring traffic. He'd come back with a mouth full of acorns. That night he was at it, making half a dozen runs before nightfall. How old was it? Alright, let's remove that. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. Compared to the others, a little gray about the edges, and his tail had bare spots. But he was the only one to cross. And he was the only one to cross. So I watched, realized that he was the only one to ever cross. That Wednesday, I sipped my coffee and considered the day. Heard the station wagon accelerate. Station wagon? Okay, fine. A greasy-faced. It's now going to be a pickup truck, and his a sick grin. I looked across his features as he barreled toward the old squirrel. The squirrel halted in the road. The pickup swerved. Smart animal. Stupid human. Phone to call the wrecker. The squirrel hadn't left the pavement. Turn to look at me. Watching me watch it. For a brief. And it crossed. And it crossed the street. The next morning, my perch found the squirrel waiting on the ledge outside, staring in. In the cup as we ought to. Then it darted off. On out. Each morning it would wait for me, staring in. Finally, I'd had enough. I'd watch it, the road, before returning its mouth. Heading up to a nest. A week later, a small brood of little squirrels descended. Over the next month, I watched them try the road to get their own acorns. Some made it, others didn't. Eventually they all stopped trying, except for that old squirrel. All right. Let's put in some personality into this. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? Apparently, teaching wisdom is hard. Every morning. At last, hunger. Good. I went to the store. Bought. What's this? What's this? God damn it. Why did you change the align and indent? Okay, there we go. Better. A sapling oak. That evening, I dug a hole, put in some good earth, and planted the little tree. there. I was done. I looked up, saw the old squirrel, middle of the road. Did it know what I was doing? Did it care? And let's hit it with the stinger at the end, and the next morning it didn't wait window ledge to stare in me. And the next morning it didn't wait. And the next morning, it wasn't waiting. It wasn't waiting. Me on the window ledge. Alright, well there we go. Creepy squirrel, old squirrel, squirrel that knows too much perhaps? I don't know if this is a good story. It's certainly nice and short. It is, let me condense things here. Select all. Format. No, I want this. Bam. Yeah, that's barely a page. I don't know if this is technically flash fiction territory, but it's definitely short and to the point. And there we go. Let's call it Squirrel Supreme. I don't have a better title for it. If I come back to this to rewrite it or edit it or what have you, it might have something that's better. I would certainly hope so. Things are fixed in the edit after all, and only by putting it on the page can you even begin that process. All right, but this has been another episode of Alan Writes. I hope you have enjoyed this little foray into creativity and tackling the blank page. Thank you. Have a good day.